What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about what's going on with SPY and Tsla and the QQQ and many other tickers out there, break down what the charts are telling us in the pre-market and how this may affect us moving forward, and what data you should be watching for at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Before I break anything down about all this information, talk about the charts, let me just briefly mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And finally, don't forget about the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks. And you can be a free Tsla share. The offer ends very soon. But anyways, let's talk about the markets. What on earth is going on? So right now, the market is extremely flat, very, very choppy, going back and forth and back and forth. We're just seeing lots of algos going back and forth, not really doing anything at all in the pre-market. And this is just a very, very flat open, very close to where we were before. But you can see that there is this resistance at 427.5 that's slowing the market down. And then we have a little bit more resistance at this very close to 427 zone, so just about right here. And besides that, the market is just continuing to go back and forth. Now we're seeing some buyers stepping in at 426.5 now, which is a little bit higher than where support was before. But once again, we're just going back and forth and back and forth. On the 30-minute time frame, we're just right below the 50 EMA. So we're just trading around it, and not a whole lot is going on just for now. But I will break down what this means in just a couple of minutes. However, even though we're very tight right now, there could be a bigger move coming at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. So don't forget, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, something big is happening. And what is that? We have the Economic Optimism Index report that's coming out. So you may think this is not that significant. That is true. It's not extremely significant, but it could cause a move in the markets because you have to consider that this will give us more insights on the outlook of investors, consumers, and many other individuals out there. If a lot of people are very optimistic, they have a very positive outlook in the markets, and this is higher than expected, this would be a good sign for the economy. If it's very close to expectations or even lower than expectations, that would not be very, very great because expectations are not that high compared to like the previous data. And on top of that, if too many people are expecting some negative effects for the economy moving forward with all the rate hikes going on and all the recessionary fears, this could add to the fuel. This is going to add to the fuel of the fire of more and more pain. Because when a lot of consumers, okay, if you look at typical market behavior structures, if a lot of consumers believe a bad thing is going to happen to a product in the future, it's more likely to happen in the present time. And the same thing happens with anything good. So if a lot of people believe Apple's about to do something absolutely spectacular, the price is going to go up in the present if they are anticipating that for the future. So it's just like how when the markets were anticipating some awesome things with the debt ceiling, right? The market started going up beforehand because we were anticipating some big news in the future. And this is important because when it comes to economic outlooks, if the market's anticipating something very bad to happen, we could see a big slowdown even sooner than expected. So I just wanted to note that. Now, besides that, when it comes to the markets, let me just briefly mention that there's not much going on. Once again, futures are a little changed as the market rally takes a breather. Once again, there's not much going on. The market's just taking a breather right now, trading very, very sideways. Even Aapl caused massive, massive moves. Now we're going to see what Aapl does from now, but there are some bearish signals on it still overall. I also want to add that when it comes to oil, there's not much that happened to oil after the Saudi production cuts, but you have to remember the cuts haven't happened yet. They announced the cuts are going to happen around July time, but they haven't officially started yet, and oil hasn't reacted too much to it just yet. But anyways, let's talk about the charts now very, very briefly. Okay, so on SPY, we're just once again going back and forth around the 50 EMA. For us to turn bullish, and I think it's very possible for us to make an attempt to try to bounce. Looking at this, this could be resembling an accumulation. And on the 30-minute time frame, we're about to get a bullish cross, but it's still very flat. There's going to be an attempt to test 427.5 again. If it breaks and holds 427.5, we have the potential to go to 428 to 428.5 around the zone up here. However, like I said before, it's probably not going to be a big swing. I'm just anticipating lots of sideways price action. If it comes all the way back down to retest, or if it breaks below the low of 426.5, that's going to be a more bearish signal and has the potential to come all the way down to 426. Now, 426 is going to act as support. 427.5 is resistance. It's very, very tight, so I'm expecting lots of sideways price action. And whichever direction it breaks in, that's going to favor a bigger move. I'm favoring that there could be an attempt for it to try to break out, but there's no guarantee it's going to be able to do so. Just a small breakout, just an attempt by buyers to step in. And we're about to get a bullish cross in the 30-minute, but the histograms right now are not very strong, right? So it's very, very choppy still. Not a whole lot is going on. The momentum is still starting to favor a small bounce for the time being, but it's very, very minor, right? So nothing much is going on. I'm thinking we could see a small attempt to bounce and lots of sideways action until 10 o'clock a.m. when the data comes out. As for Tesla, it's down about 0.26% in the pre-market, very, very choppy for now, and still stuck in this chop zone. So yesterday we spent the majority of the day in this chop zone, which I mentioned in a couple of days ago, and Tesla's still stuck there. Now, if Tesla continues to trade sideways, you're going to be watching resistance very close to the 218, and then support is going to be closer to about the 216.66 to about 216.5 zone, very, very flat. Also, we have support at the 50 EMA at 215.96. If that breaks, it's going to likely retest 214.5 to 214. So very, very tight again. Typically, when this happens, we tend to anticipate a nice move, but it's about to get a bullish cross on the PPO on the 30-minute time frame. So there's a chance we're going to see an attempt for it to make its way up and retest 218. Could even go a little bit higher, but then I'm anticipating lots of just sideways price action, not a whole lot. There is an attempt to get this bullish cross on the PPO, so it might push up into open, trade very sideways, then react at 10 o'clock a.m. to the data. Then after that, like I said before in my previous videos, I am anticipating some downside later on for the markets. It's just that it may take a little bit longer and we may see some sideways action first. And that's so far what this is suggesting. So we might see Tesla try to bounce a little bit, trade very, very sideways and choppy and flat. And then eventually, something else will come later on. For the QQQ, we're not getting any like bullish cross on the PPO just yet. And it's very flat. It's very, very flat. Now you could argue there's like a head and shoulders forming here. It is a possibility, but for now it's just stuck. It's really just stuck between support and resistance. Resistance is at 355.5. Support you're going to be watching is around this 354 zone, going back and forth and back and forth. If it breaks below 354, you're going to be watching 353 now. 353.45 and 353. And if 353 breaks, it's going to come down even harder. It's going to have a lot of room for downside. It's going to test where the 200 EMA is, around 350. That's going to be a big drop if it does end up holding below 353. Now, if it breaks above 355.5, you're going to be watching some resistance all the way up to about 356.5, followed by 357.5 and to 358. This entire zone up here. I'm not leaning direction of it pushing to the high of the day yesterday. I think there's going to be an attempt for it to balance just a little bit with the market. It could get a 355.5 retest, but then I would just be very careful because it's just going to chop around, be very boring today. And then I would say a big move should come around 10 o'clock a.m. And later on, like I said before in my video, later on, it may take a couple of days, though. It could happen as soon as today, though. It really depends on if we break. We do have a bearish cross on the 4-hour, so that suggests that the momentum is still favoring the bears a little bit more, and there is likely going to be some downside coming if this head and shoulder plays out, and if this bearish divergence finally gets the break we're waiting for. So the odds favor it eventually breaking down, but it may take a while because for now, we're still looking very choppy on the shorter term time frames. But on the more like medium term, right, for the next couple of trading days approaching Friday, there's a high probability it's going to eventually make its way back down to 350. Now for SPY, with SPY, it's very likely it's going to break down eventually, but it may take a while because we're about to get a bearish cross on the 4-hour. For now, we might see some bulls trying to defend their positions in very sideways price action, but later on, it may continue to see downside. As for Tesla, Tesla still looks pretty decent. It's very, very choppy and sideways, but it's about to get a bearish cross on the PPO, and it's still overbought on there. So there's a chance we might see Tesla trade sideways and cool off a little bit too. Now let me just talk about a couple of tickers very quickly. Amazon's very flat. It's not really doing much. Don't forget the resistance is at 126. If it breaks holds 126 for quite a while, it could go all the way up to about 128. If it comes down and breaks below where support is, breaks below 124.6, we're going to come all the way down to this 123 zone, which I mentioned yesterday. And if that fails, it could go even lower. Coinbase is down pretty hard after the news that just came out, and it's getting very close to filling the gap that formed. So you're going to be watching this support very carefully. 47.66, watch that on Coinbase. Very important zone. It's also gapping down, but there's going to be a lot of bearish momentum for it. So once again, watch that. If that fails on us, it could come all the way down to the mid 40s, if not lower than that. Aapl is also down in the pre-market. It's continuing to drop, which is very interesting. If Aapl keeps dropping, you're going to be watching support at the 50 EMA at 177.41. If that fails at us, then we have 175. If we're bullish on Aapl, it needs to bounce and try to make its way up to about 180. If that breaks, there's 182 zone all the way up here. But once again, Aapl still has weakening momentum. There's no sign of it bouncing just yet, so be careful with it. Last but not least, for Nvda, where's Nvda? Nvidia stock is very, very flat too, not really doing much. It's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. I'm anticipating a big move very soon in either direction. Something's about to happen either by today or tomorrow. Something's very interesting that's going on. It's just continuing to get tighter, so expect lots of choppy price action today. But don't forget, a big move is likely coming. All right, so anyways, that's what I have for this video. Thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And get ready for the trading day. It's going to be a little boring in the morning, but don't forget at 10 o'clock a.m. expect more volatility, and then we'll see which direction the market breaks in. So watch each support and resistance level and get ready. All right, thank you for listening. Have a good one, guys. Get ready for the trading day, and peace out.